Hello and welcome back to the Zarate Creations podcast. I'm your host, Alex G. Zarate. Today, let's revisit a moment not buried in distant centuries, but within living memory. A time when computers did not symbolize inevitability, but uncertainty. There was a time when the computer looked less like the future and more like an expensive complication. Before screens illuminated desks, offices moved to a different rhythm, the steady mechanical cadence of the typewriter. Keys striking paper, ink meeting surface, words arriving through motion you could hear and feel. Typewriters were not merely tools, they were trusted companions of productivity, refined, reliable, familiar. They did one task, and they did it beautifully. The typewriter was not perceived as limited, it was perceived as complete. Then came the computer, large, costly, technically intimidating, often frustrating. Early systems required extensive training. Interfaces felt unnatural. Simple actions sometimes demanded complex steps. To many practical observers, the negative reaction felt entirely reasonable. Why replace something elegant and dependable with something so awkward? New technologies are rarely compared to the past fairly. They're compared to the past at its most refined state. The computer was frequently judged as though it were competing to be a better typewriter. But computers were never merely typewriters. They introduced something far more profound. Text could be edited without retyping entire pages. Information could be stored, duplicated, and transmitted. Functions extended beyond writing into calculation, communication, creation. The shift was not about typing faster. It was about redefining interaction with information itself. Transformation often hides behind unfamiliar forms. In their earliest forms, computers were objectively imperfect. But progress does not remain frozen at introduction. Interfaces improved, capabilities expanded, costs declined. Usability increased. Iteration quietly reshaped perception. Eventually, the comparison itself dissolved. Now, no one asks whether computers are better typewriters. The category has vanished. Beginnings rarely reveal the scale of their eventual influence. Resistance to early computers was not irrational. They were unfamiliar, disruptive, demanding of new skills and adjustments. But human intuition often assumes that early inconvenience signals limited potential. History repeatedly reveals otherwise. Awkwardness is often the costume of early progress. Computers did not simply replace existing tools. They reorganized entire ecosystems of work. Communication accelerated, creativity expanded, entire professions emerged. What once seemed unnecessary became indispensable. What once seemed improbable became invisible through familiarity. The most transformative technologies often appear underwhelming at first glance. Today, we encounter new systems that evoke similar reaction. Initial friction, initial skepticism, initial comparison to what already feels sufficient. And history gently reminds us, early judgments are rarely final verdicts. We often mistake early form for permanent limitation. Perhaps the story of the computer is not merely technological, but perceptual. A reminder of how difficult it is to recognize trajectories while standing inside beginnings. A reminder that familiarity carries persuasive power. A reminder that progress often looks unimpressive, until time reveals what it was quietly becoming. Thank you for joining me on the Zarate Creations podcast. Until next time, remain curious about first impressions. Remain patient with emerging forms. Remain open to possibilities still unfolding. Onwards.